In this movie, we follow Ian, a young man with special powers to create illusions. When Ian finds his true father, things get complicated. The movie starts in a small Spanish town. Vicente went into a grocery store and stole several bottles by hiding them in his jacket. Outside, his son Ian used his extraordinary power to create illusions, so the clerk wouldn't notice the theft. Vicente paid for a small item and left the store while Ian kept the illusion going as his father searched for their truck. However, a group of girls passed by and called Ian a freak, which distracted him and made the illusion disappear. Inside the store, the clerk noticed the missing bottles and grabbed a hammer to chase Vicente. Ian tried to stop her with another illusion, pretending he had a gun, but it didn't work. Panicking, Ian accidentally shot the clerk. As she fell, Ian saw a flash of her memories and heard police sirens nearby. Vicente quickly pulled Ian into their truck, and when the police arrived, the clerk's wound had vanished. Vicente drove fast down the road with the police in pursuit. Ian used his power to reflect light off the truck's mirror, making the police think they were going a different way. Vicente scolded Ian, but the illusion soon broke, and the police caught up with them again. Ian argued with his father, questioning why they needed to hide when they could be rich with just one trick. Vicente refused to explain who they were and insisted they needed to stay hidden. When they reached the beach, Ian created a large illusion of a hailstorm. The officer saw the hail damage his car, and the strong wind flipped it, dragging it to a gas station. At the station, the officer realized everything was fine. Security cameras recorded the incident, which was later reviewed by the mysterious Dr. Adriana. The next morning, Vicente and Ian were living on an abandoned ship. Ian dreamed about his deceased mother singing to him as a baby. When she suddenly screamed, Ian woke up upset. Vicente made a special birthday breakfast for Ian and showed him a picture of his mother from when he discovered his powers. Ian wanted to go to the arcade for his birthday, but Vicente refused. Angry, Ian went to his room and took out his frustration on a training dummy before escaping through the window. In town, a cop told the bartender about a hailstorm he had seen. The perceiver overheard this and used his power to knock the cop down. Later that evening, a special team surrounded the ship and entered, while Vicente was distracted by the TV. Adriana, a member of the agency, revealed herself and treated Vicente like an old friend. She wanted information about Ian and began hitting Vicente to make him talk. Just then, they received a message from other agents about Ian's location. Meanwhile, Ian was at the arcade when the perceiver and two agents arrived looking for him. The perceiver pushed one agent behind a curtain and easily defeated him. He then used the agent's radio to trick Adriana into thinking there was another perceiver nearby. Adriana ordered her agents to focus on this new threat. The perceiver continued searching for Ian, who was hiding behind a table. An agent fired at Ian, but the perceiver escaped, appearing behind the agent and revealing it was an illusion. The agent chased the fake perceiver, while the real one tried to trick Ian. However, an agency agent put a helmet on the perceiver to block his powers. The perceiver fought the agent in a dark room, threw him through a wall and faced a whole team of agents. Despite being surrounded, he kept fighting and defeated them, ignoring the VR players nearby. After removing the helmet, the perceiver searched for Ian. Meanwhile, Esther and another agent took Ian outside where Adriana awaited in a van. Adriana revealed they had kidnapped Vicente and showed Ian this, so he agreed to go with her. Inside the van, Ian was quickly tied up and a helmet was placed on him to take a blood sample. When the perceiver came out, the van was already gone. He created an illusion of a stroller to make a truck stop suddenly, causing an accident. The van driver considered stopping, but was told by Adriana to continue, revealing the truck was an illusion. Later, Ian woke up at the agency facility, where Adriana explained the agency's war with the conscience, a group controlling people in power to prevent real democracy. Adriana explained that the perceiver would either want Ian to join him or kill him, so she urged Ian to work with her. She needed the formula in Ian's blood to block enemy powers. Adriana was curious about Ian's abilities and mentioned illusions of people. Ian said he tried but couldn't create a person's illusion, which Adriana disputed. She gave him a test, explaining that strong emotions influenced his powers. By showing Ian a picture of his mother and discussing his sad childhood, Ian created the desired illusion, a beach with a fly buzzing around his mother. Adriana then asked Ian to bring her back to reality while keeping the fly in a permanent loop. Ian struggled but ended the illusion, demanding to see his father. Adriana took him to Vicente, who warned Ian that the agency would only use him for experiments. Adriana revealed that Ian could use his second power to access his father's memories. Ian saw young Vicente working for the agency and witnessed Vicente seizing the opportunity to kidnap baby Ian when an alarm went off. Adriana tried to stop him, but Vicente fought off the guards and escaped. In the present, Vicente passed out as Ian released him, and Ian was upset to learn Vicente wasn't his real father. Adriana confirmed this but said Ian's mother might still be alive. Later, Adriana showed blood test results to the American, who was curious about Ian's powers. Adriana explained Ian inherited them from his parents, which was thought impossible. The American ordered Adriana to obtain the formula and eliminate Ian, but she refused, arguing that Ian might develop a third power and could be their only defense against the mule, a figure the American considered a myth. Later, a doctor reviewed Ian's test results and smirked at his neuron factor of 204%. Meanwhile, Esther approached Ian in his room, calling him a lab rat and offering him a chance to escape. They made it downstairs but were surrounded by guards. Esther fought them off with a baton, a taser, and impressive skill. Within minutes, all the agents were unconscious, and they tried to escape. Ian insisted they needed to take Vicente too, as his memories might hold answers. As they moved Vicente and searched for a car outside, Adriana triggered the alarm. Agents ran outside to open fire, but Ian drove as fast as he could, arguing with Vicente about his lies. Meanwhile, the doctor from earlier stole a gun, shot everyone in the lab, and revealed himself as the perceiver. On his way out, Ian used his powers to make the guards shoot in a different direction. When they reached the mountain road, Ian's reckless driving caused a crash. Moments later, the perceiver arrived, but Ian used his powers to make him think there was nothing there. The perceiver smiled and left. The trio found a motel to hide in. The next morning, Ian and Esther spent time on the roof before returning to their room, where they found Vicente passed out after drinking. Ian entered Vicente's mind again and saw Adriana holding a file for a patient Kaminsky to be transferred to Poland. Adriana checked the van and told the driver that the formula would be injected that night. Ian noticed a masked person missing 3 fingers behind the driver, which shocked him and broke his connection. Later, Ian went to the bank, used an illusion to make a note look like a check, and got money from the clerk before escaping when security was called. Back at the motel, Esther played with the cash, and Ian worried about Vicente's disappearance. Meanwhile, Vicente returned to his ship and was visited by Adriana, who told him to stop drinking and act like a real father. Back with Ian, he discovered that Esther had brought the perceiver inside, claiming she was helping Ian find the answers he needed. Ian tried to use a gun, but the perceiver walked through him, recognizing the illusion. The perceiver then saw many copies of Ian and quickly identified the real one by looking at Esther, who pointed him out. The perceiver revealed to Ian that he was his real father. He explained that during the Cold War, scientists injected a formula into volunteers, including his daughter and himself, giving them special powers. After the war, the government feared they might become enemies and started eliminating the spies. Then the mule appeared as the last and most powerful perceiver, who had the third power, mind control, making enemies kill each other or themselves. The mule formed the conscience, teaching survivors to hide their powers and live normal lives. Despite the belief that perceivers were sterile, Ian's mother became pregnant, and Ian was born with powers naturally. As agents entered the building, the perceiver told Esther to take Ian to his house in Madrid. While they used the stairs, the perceiver fought off the agents, using illusions of spiders to distract them. He was eventually captured by 2 men with a helmet. Meanwhile, Esther and Ian fought off agents and escaped via the roof, where Esther made an impressive jump. Ian hesitated but then slid down a tunnel and escaped with Esther. Later, the perceiver was in the agency's lab, enduring painful tests. The American ordered Adriana to stop, but she ignored him. A scientist soon reported that the formula in the perceiver's body was too diluted to recover. Vicente suddenly appeared, warning Ian that the perceiver was manipulating him and that he would regret his actions. The perceiver threw a gun on the floor, urging Ian to kill Vicente. Ian, however, was focused on avenging the agency. Ian rushed to Vicente, who asked him to enter his mind before dying. In Vicente's memory, Ian saw that his mother had asked Vicente to save him. Ian apologized and called Vicente Dad one last time. They embraced and shared a final memory of fishing before Vicente died. Ian grabbed a gun and went after the perceiver, who was hiding at a party in a neighboring building. Following Esther's voice, Ian used his powers to knock down partygoers and found the perceiver holding Esther at gunpoint. A mental battle ensued over control of the gun. Struggling, Ian tapped into his third power, using bottles to fight back. The perceiver controlled the crowd to attack Ian, who used a tray as a shield but was overwhelmed. Adriana arrived and shot the attacker, strangling Ian. Ian realized that the perceiver had created a mental loop, making him believe Esther was in danger. Distraught, Ian shot Esther, but the bullet killed the perceiver instead. Esther rushed to Ian and they hugged. Later, Ian arranged graves for his mother and Vicente. Adriana visited and asked Ian to choose a side, stressing that she needed the formula, but Ian refused to join the war. He left with Esther to start a new life. Ian and Esther kissed in the truck. Before they left, Ian looked at Adriana talking to the American. The American didn't appear in the truck mirror, meaning Adriana had a loop in her head too.